Welcome to the second episode of the Only Overs Football Show. Recording it in the same day as the first episode, so it's still week one of college football. Moving past the Thursday games, going to the Friday and Saturday games, all the big ones that everybody's wanting to talk about. So, Vance, how about we start off with Florida versus Utah? Get right into it. So,
Let's go.
Me and you, I know, have a little bit of different opinions on this.
Yeah.
This is a tough game to me. So Utah, obviously looking at rankings, right? Utah is ranked 7th in the country. Florida's not ranked, but is an SEC school. Utah, a minus 140 favored at 2.5 points. Utah had a really good season last year, but they were not good against the spread. They were 7-7 against the spread last year, and 1-4 against the spread as road favorites. And they weren't really a good road team either. They had 4 losses total on the year. 3 were on the road. The other one was in a bowl game. So, I mean, technically all their losses were away games, or at least not at home. In terms of the over on this game is 51.5. They did have 7 of 11 games go over last year. They had a good offense. Their quarterback is back. Their strength was in their run game, and Florida had a poor run defense last year. But when it comes to Florida, they were 3-10 against the spread last season and 6-7 as a whole. Personally, I think last year they got too much credit on their spreads and shit just because they're Florida, and I think it showed. And I think this year it's kind of starting off the same way. I don't think they're that loaded of a roster. I think it's Florida, it's an SEC school, so they're getting a little bit of credit. But I do think Utah's a really good team. Their offense was good last year. They averaged 30.7 points per game, but they gave up 26.8. They lost Dameon Pierce, who is probably going to be a starter in the NFL this year, so that's a big loss for them. What do you think about the game? That was a lot of information I just threw out there.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I truly think that with the new coach and the talent Florida has, and then looking at everything, Utah sucks on the road. Florida's got one of the toughest stadiums to play in. So, I mean, and the other thing that really throws you off here is how many times do you see an unranked team only a 3-point underdog versus a top 10 team?
Yeah. That's
like rare. So like obviously it could be overhyped, but I think it's that way for a reason. Like the SEC is just like a different beast. Like Florida can recruit with the big dogs. Like they're with the big dogs when they recruit. So I think with the new coach, they have talent, they got a good quarterback, and the home field advantage and the heat. I don't know. It's tough to just like be sold on Utah. Like if Utah's in the SEC, I'd probably be like, yeah. But like they're not in the SEC or the Big Ten, and those are the powerhouses of college football at the moment. So I'm feeling Florida. I know Utah was impressive last year. They did well in the Rose Bowl. But that home field advantage, and I think Florida's going to come out rejuvenated under this new head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see Florida winning. I think this is like the one game this week that it's like there's more than likely going to be somebody that's going to get a big upset, right? And this looks like the game that could be it. The line's getting closer and closer in terms of money line.
But that could be hype.
Yeah. Utah's at minus 140.
Betting trends.
Yeah.
Line shift off betting trends, not off actual, like, it's just Vegas based. So, like, if everyone starts betting that, like, oh, Florida's going to cover, they're going to start bringing the line closer and closer.
Yeah, so I like Utah minus 2.5 for my bet, but if this line keeps getting closer, I might just go Utah money line, because right now they're at minus 140. If I can get that, like, minus 120 or so, I'll probably just take the money line, but I like the Utah spread, and I also like the over at 51.5. I think these are going to be two pretty high-scoring teams. So I think I'm taking the over at 51.5, and I think I'm taking the Utah spread, and you're taking what, Florida money line?
Yeah, as you can see.
Okay, so
Mike Gators.
Two different bets there to start us off. Next game.
Take a shot.
No, I didn't. I didn't do that this episode. I don't have those. I could if I needed to, but next
Bullshit.
time. Well, I think we're going to disagree a few times, so
that's fine.
All right, so next game, the big one, Notre Dame, Ohio State. I will be in Columbus. Easily the biggest game of the week. Pretty much, I mean, this is like dang near biggest game of the year. Week 1. Saturday night, Ohio State is a 17.5 point favorite at minus 900. Ohio State's also ranked second in the country. It says third up there. That's wrong. Ohio State's ranked second. So yeah, a night game at home in Columbus. Ohio State, obviously, most people look at them as a top 2 team in the country. I know rankings or whatever, but like pretty much, I think most people are in agreement that's Alabama and Ohio State this year. Obviously, returning C.J. Stroud and a lot of other weapons, making that maybe the most explosive offense in college football. They still got Henderson. They still got Jackson Smith-Njigba. They also got a new defense coordinator from Oklahoma State, who we talked about last episode, how good their defense was. Him working with this type of talent could possibly take them to a whole nother level. The one thing about their betting, they're 5-7 against the spread in non-conference games, and this is easily, I would say, the best non-conference team that they play, outside of like Bama, Georgia type schools like that. But I don't think they've even played them in a bit. So yeah, I know last year I watched Ohio State week 1, and they were not impressive week 1, and then they were amazing the rest of the year. But they looked bad against Minnesota. I think Stroud was hurt during that game, maybe, but maybe something to keep an eye on if they can have another slow start. And this time against a team like Notre Dame. Say what you want about Notre Dame. They're always one of the top teams in the country. They have a lot of weapons. Michael Mayer is amazing. They do have a little bit of an unproven quarterback, but they have, as always, an amazing offensive line. They have a good running back. They have great linebackers, great defensive backs. They really are a loaded team. A new head coach this year. Moved on from Brian Kelly. Well, Brian Kelly moved on from them, I guess you would say. But so this is going to be big for. I know a lot of people everyone has their own opinions on that whole situation between Freeman and him. So I mean, this is going to be a crazy game. What do you think? You're a big Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, I'm nervous and excited. So since Brian Kelly took over, Notre Dame has won 2 games against top 10 opponents, I think. I think they beat Stanford and they in 2012, and then they beat Clemson without Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Yeah, so I don't even know if you want to count that one.
You definitely count it.
Usually when Notre Dame plays top 10 teams, they get ran through pretty badly. So I mean, it sucks. We got to go in game 1. Coach Freeman, first regular season game for us, and we're playing against 3 Heisman candidates on their offense off rip. So, I mean, I don't think our defense is going to be able to slow them down. So hopefully our offense can just keep up. I think the spread is in reach, though. I know they told Freeman about the spread, and he said he's gonna take that to the locker room. So I think they already feel disrespected, Notre Dame, and I think they might play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. It might help them. And I know Freeman gave them a big boost in recruiting, and he probably brings a lot of young life to the team. So I'm hoping it's competitive. I'm hoping Notre Dame upsets them because I'm tired of hearing about Ohio State. But it is a tall hill to climb for sure.
Yeah, I actually like that Notre Dame's playing them week 1. I think that probably is more of an advantage for Notre Dame, I would say, especially with the new coach. I don't know how much the play calling is going to be completely different. I don't really think the recruiting is going to come into much of an effect, like having a new
Not
coach
yet,
recruiting.
No.
I mean, maybe they have a couple freshmen. I'm not sure. The one thing I don't like, I know Notre Dame does have good DBs, but last year they had the best DB in the country in Kyle Hamilton. Losing that against this explosive offense could be huge. We'll see what they got. I'm taking Notre Dame's spread. I like Notre Dame plus 17.5. I think, at least for the first half, this is going to be a competitive game. I could see Ohio State blowing it open late, but I'm gonna take week 1, a little bit of craziness, night game, new coach, probably got the team all fired up. I'm gonna take Notre Dame's spread. I do think it's gonna be close, but I think 17.5 is a little bit disrespectful, so I'm taking Notre Dame plus 17.5.
I understand the 17.5, though. Every time they put Notre Dame in the playoffs, they get blown out, and it's at Ohio State. But I'm putting 50 on Notre Dame money line, but my real bet would be the spread.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like that's gonna be a pretty popular bet.
I will say this though, Freeman, new coach, right, bringing a lot of young life, but we also have what was the best thing in the NFL, and that's TB12, right? Best career in NFL history. We have TB12 as our quarterback, so like, just think about it. It's kind of fate,
One way
you know.
if yeah, that's one way to look at it. So
Tyler Buckner, whatever the fuck his name is. Excuse my language. TB12.
all right,
He's gonna carry us. He's gonna carry us for sure.
there we go. All right, so there's our bet. We're both on the same page there. Next, we're gonna go to Georgia versus Oregon. You seem pretty you're pretty amped up about Georgia. I said last night that we're doing an octagon thing, and I had third pick for college football. I picked Georgia. I said I think Georgia's pretty clearly the third best team in the country. They did lose a lot, but I still think one, like you said earlier, SEC team, incredible recruiting. They're going to be loaded top to bottom, a national championship team. And they still are bringing back a lot of key players. But yes, they did lose a lot, especially on defense.
This is the guy.
But this is your national champ. He's a national champ. And he balled out in the playoffs. I like him. Fans doesn't like him. But what do you think? I know you had some opinions on this game. Let's hear what you think.
It's just obviously Georgia's SEC. So if I say Florida can recruit, obviously Georgia can recruit better than Florida. So like they can replace, but like they lost everyone on defense. So like I think a 17-point spread is doable. I think it could be a close game. I don't think they can rely on Stetson Bennett. Obviously they're still loaded with talent, but it's so many fresh guys that weren't starting games last year that there could be a lot more mistakes. This isn't NFL where like you could see the worst team like the Jaguars come out against a playoff contender and body them like they did to the Colts. This is college football where like mistakes are common. Like you get new guys in there that don't have experience. It's not like freshmen and sophomore go out there and ball out all the time. Like they make crazy mistakes. That's why you see crazy good teams get upset out of nowhere to teams that they should smoke. So I mean, 17-point spread.
It's pretty big.
And Georgia losing all of their starting defense. Like I think Oregon has a chance. Like this is a game where I'm definitely gonna take Oregon to cover.
Yeah.
Like I'm not taking Georgia to cover. Like if anything, I wouldn't touch the game at all. But I think Oregon has a chance. I mean, they did well last year. Did they beat Ohio State? Was that last year?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it may have been week 2 or 3. It was early. And I would assume the spread was probably, I mean, I would bet the odds were similar to this, right?
It lost me a bet because I was like, Ohio State got Oregon easy. So, like, but Georgia, if they didn't lose, like, they had the most players get drafted out of a college.
Yeah.
So, like, it's tough to be like, oh, yeah, that defense is going to be.
I don't think they're going to be the team they were last year because they were insane.
This might be a good over. This might be honestly a good over, like because their offense still has tons of talent. Stetson's coming back. I don't think he's like statistically great, but like they've got weapons. And then if Oregon scores because Georgia's defense isn't that good, I mean, it's not hard to think that 53 points can't show up.
I
but
still think Georgia's defense is going to be good.
SEC's stout at defense.
Yeah.
Like usually they're like a stout defensive conference. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just if I did anything, I'm taking Oregon to cover.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that's really tough. I probably will bet it, but this is a hard one to bet because you don't know a whole lot about Georgia. They are still bringing back a lot of good players, and they did lose a lot of starters, but I guarantee their depth is still absolutely loaded. If I bet, I do think I would probably take Oregon spread if I did bet. 16.5 is a lot. Week 1, Oregon, they pulled off a big one last year early. Like you said, Georgia probably will be a little bit out of sync with all those new guys on the field. It's not going to be as easy as last year. I still wouldn't be surprised if Georgia does smoke them, but I think if I picked here, I probably would take Oregon spread as well.
If you want me to be honest, though, like because we did the show for Thursday, and then we did show for like, I wouldn't be surprised if Central Michigan didn't cover the spread. I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma State killed them. I wouldn't be surprised if Pitt killed West Virginia. I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State dominated Purdue. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State dominates Notre Dame. Like it's week 1. I mean,
yeah. So right here, Oregon last year when they beat Ohio State, they were 15-point underdogs. So close to this. I don't think Oregon wins, but I could see them covering for sure. So
yeah,
I think we got the same pick there.
Yep, the Ducks.
Last game, Arkansas versus Cincy. Cincy, another team in a fairly similar situation as Georgia. And Arkansas was kind of a surprise, pretty good team too. They lost some good players too. They lost Traylon Burks. Cincy is always solid though. They really are. I feel like even if they're not one of those big schools, they are always a good team. They lose their quarterback. They lose Alec Pierce as well. So this is another one that's kind of tough. I don't know what to think about it. What do you think?
Um, to be honest, I thought this was like the easiest bet for me to make.
You like
I
Arkansas?
I'm all in on I bet on Arkansas when they had Felipe Franks
Felipe
from
Franks.
yeah, and they won me a lot of money. But like if we're being real, I don't think Cincinnati can do what the SEC does. Like I just think the talent in the SEC is just better than what Cincinnati. And
I think
they
people say that
lost
every year
so
though.
much. I understand that, but like it's not every year where you see a team like Cincinnati second and most players drafted.
That's true.
That's a very tall order. Like if you have that many draft prospects,
Yeah.
like how likely is it for a school like Cincinnati to have a replacement like that? Like if it's Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, like obviously you're not even thinking twice. You're like they do this every year. Like
Yeah. It is.
but like Cincinnati is not a school where they do that every year. So I think this is Arkansas easy. Definitely money line, but I mean I could see them covering easily.
Yeah, I get they did lose a lot of players, but it's not like I did compare it to Georgia. But they didn't lose players like Georgia lost necessarily. Like they didn't lose N'Kobe Dean and Jordan Davis.
They lost
And
their quarterback though,
I get that.
and their best wide receiver.
Yeah,
The
but
quarterback thing is the
quarterback's
hardest thing
big.
to replace.
But Georgia lost like players that I could see being fucking all Pro Bowl, like Jordan Davis, Jacoby Dean, or N'Kobe Dean, Pickett, like guys like that.
Yeah.
Ritter was great. That's going to be hard to replace. Alec Pierce was great.
Like how
I
many
don't
how many
know
top tier QBs do you think Cincinnati's got coming through their program?
Probably not a lot, but I don't know, dude. Cincinnati's always solid. Every year, every year I feel like I come back and I'm like, they probably aren't going to be good this year, and then they're fucking good. I don't know. I also agree. I think Arkansas wins the game. 6.5.
I don't. That's kind of. A touchdown's a lot in college football. Like it's a lot for certain teams.
I think I'll take Arkansas. I think I'll take them minus 6.5. Specifically, I don't know a lot about Cincinnati's offense, but losing that good of a quarterback and coming back, they're probably going to have a rough first game. But I do think I would assume Cincinnati's probably still going to be a pretty good team. They always are.
I'm not saying they're going to be bad, but that's going to be a big adjustment because a lot of those guys that they're going to play, haven't had experience, and their first game coming out is going to be an SEC school.
Yeah. So
like a ranked SEC school at that. Like Arkansas is usually competitive.
Yeah, and Arkansas, no, they were competitive last year. They had a good year.
That's what I'm saying. Like they usually compete. So it's not a small task. It'd be different if they're going up against like
tough. 6.5 is
like Colorado State or some joke of a team like Miami, Ohio.
Yeah.
But like Arkansas is a little bit much for them to start off with.
Yeah, I think I'll take Arkansas 6.5, but that might be my least confident pick that we've had on this stream. So, all right, you had a couple other picks. I don't have all the info necessarily for them, but I know you had a couple other picks that you liked that we can talk about real fast.
I got some favorites.
Yeah, some heart picks.
This team has won me a lot of money, and it's UTSA. They play who they play. Where's it at?
Houston,
yeah.
Houston ranked like 24th or so, I think.
Yeah, they were both 12-2 last year, right? Both had big seasons, but like UTSA has been steadily getting better. Like they had a losing record, then they won like 7 games, and then they won this like 12 games. They were solid. They always cover. Like they were always covering. It was a blessing to bet on them. But I think that's going to be a very close game, but I think that's an easy underdog to take right now. It's only a 4-point spread, so they already think it's going to be close. And I think UTSA is competitive enough.
Yeah, it is a 4-point
and good
spread.
enough to think about as an underdog. Like you obviously don't want to bet favorites all the time. I mean, you can if you want to, if you're throwing fat money down. But like if you like throwing like $2 parlays and stuff, Like UTSA is not a bad team to throw on your slip. I throw them on there all the time. They're one of my favorite underdogs to bet on. But both coming off 12-2 seasons, I think UTSA
Yeah.
could could upset them, right? And then the last game, it's a team everyone learned to bet on. It's Coastal Carolina versus a competitive Army team. The weirdest thing with these military teams is they can't throw the ball, right? But they're somehow competitive. Army ended up going 9-4 with a running offense. They throw like 2 times a game. Air Force ended up having like a 10-win season, and they can barely throw the ball too. But I like this game because they have it close. So Coastal should kill Army. They've got a better quarterback. I mean, they can pass the ball as long as they get by their defense. They should win easily. So that 2.5 for Coastal should be an easy take. The other thing that could be teased, I know we're only overs, but like most military schools can't cover overs because they kill clock. All they do is run the ball. The clock's always going. They're running like triple option offenses.
Do you know the over in that game?
54.5.
Oh fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like the thing is, Coastal is good enough to put up points on them. So Coastal could put up 35 by themselves, and if they give up a couple, that 54 becomes small very quick. But I mean, if Coastal can stop Army, I don't think Coastal's going to put up 54 by themselves because Army's going to kill clock. Like that's just how it is. And I'm in the Army, so it sucks to like kind of shit on them. But I mean, and I know people that have played on their team. But I mean, the Chanticleers are dogs, and their quarterback's pretty solid.
Yeah.
This guy right here.
So you're taking Coastal spread and
with this guy throwing the ball,
the under.
Grayson McCall. I'm taking the spread for sure, and then they've got a solid quarter. This is like one of those guys like Liberty's quarterback from a small school, yeah, but like tons of talent.
Yeah.
And they showed up when they were put to the test against BYU, when BYU was ranked with Zach Wilson or whatever his name is. Like they showed up and they beat them. Like they can win. They can win big game. And the fact that they have it this close, I mean, this is kind of like a free spread. This would be my lock. Coastal minus 2.5 would be my lock.
And then we got the Alabama Utah State first quarter. I know you mentioned that.
Yes.
I'm looking at that. I know you like the total is what you said earlier. I think total first quarter
and the over.
That's I like the spread. The spread first quarter Alabama versus Utah State. Alabama, their spread 10. In the first quarter is 10. They should get
with
that.
The over at 14.
Yeah, Bryce Young should throw two touchdowns in the first.
UConn put up 14 on Georgia Tech.
Utah State
in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like UConn.
Bryce Young should be doing that. Right.
Like that should be easy. And this Alabama team, like they might have a better defense than Georgia had last year.
Yeah, they're stacked.
So like Utah State might have the ball for 30 seconds.
We could see quick turnovers.
Like we could see the ball going the other way quick, and they're often like it's just a team that Utah State cannot keep up with them. So there's no way.
That's probably two straight bet. I don't think you can parlay this, so I think you might be able to.
You could probably single game it.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if you can for this, but minus 10 first quarter Alabama, for the spread and over 14 total first quarter, because I assume it's not 14.5 though. So right now, if you get it at 14, it's a push. If they up 14-0.
Which is good. You don't want to mess with the halves because you don't want to get caught up.
I think that's a great bet too. Alabama should be the best team in the country, and Utah State is fucking terrible. So, yeah. So that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So
do you want to go over our picks real quick? Just a quick rundown, just a quick recap.
Yeah. So I picked Utah State minus 2.5 against Florida. And I like the over. I picked
Utah, not Utah State.
Yeah. My bad. Utah minus 2.5 against Florida and the over.
Yep.
I went Notre Dame plus 17.5.
Yep.
I went Oregon plus 16.5. And I went Arkansas minus 6.5. And then I did the Alabama first quarter bets.
Yeah, I got Florida money line. I think that's a good upset. Oregon Oregon cover, Notre Dame cover, Arkansas money line, and then I also am going to take another underdog in UTSA, and then I take the same Alabama bets with the spread and over. I'll take them both. I'll put 20 on both of them, and then Coastal minus 2.5 easily.
Sweet.
Easily.
Yep. So that's it for this week. Next week we're going to be doing college football again. We'll likely do something for the Thursday games and all that, and we're also going to be doing NFL. So we should have a lot of content out.
Just heads up, it's UTSA, not UTEP. I messed that up before. UTEP. It lost me some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, UTEP's not good.
Yeah, so that's our bets. If you liked it, give us a like, subscribe. Just keep watching our content. Comment for sure. We'll reply to comments, even if we screw you guys and you want to be mean to us. We'll go down there and talk. We appreciate it. We'll
keep track of our record.
Yeah. We'll let you guys know if we're winning and what we're hot on and what we're doing bad on, and we'll try to make sure that we win you guys some money. So appreciate it, and hopefully we see you guys next week.